Hello and welcome to week number 5 of this guitar soloing series. We are talking about some major topics of what you can use to help to add vocabulary to your guitar improvisation. Now today we are going to talk about scaling the fretboard. If you have not seen our past week's video, we talked about some really cool stuff. Bending, note stacking, diatonic runs, etc. So please go back and watch the videos before this in the series, okay? And I really hope that's gonna help you improve the way you guitar solo. So today we're talking about ability to scale the neck, okay? Now from the most foundational standpoint, okay, the pentatonic scale, okay, number 1, and a diatonic scale, those two scales are absolutely crucial for you to know to be able to scale your fretboard, okay? Now, if you don't know your pentatonic scales or your diatonic scales, then please do check out my 14-day free trial in my online school. I focus really hard on giving my students a really great foundation, making sure they know their fretboard, making sure they know their scales, and making sure they know how to navigate the fretboard so they can solo anywhere they want. So do check out that course on guitar soloing, my online school, 14-day free trial. Go in there and learn your scales and download the charts, okay? Have fun. So when it comes to scaling a fretboard, okay, a lot of students tend to be very good at staying in one position. Okay, for example, like turn the guitar on. Okay, so they can scale, they can solo in one section, but then if I tell them to move from here and find their way up the fretboard, that's when they begin to really struggle. So let me give you some tips today, okay? So from a foundational standpoint, if we have our pentatonic scales down, that is, let's say from position 1 to 5, okay, make sure you know your 5 position pentatonic scale. Okay, so that's from 1 to 5, 1 to 1, okay, so 1 to 5 and then I play 1 again. So at the very least, make sure you have that connection down, okay? Once again, if you don't know this stuff, please go to my online school and use the 14-day free trial and learn it, okay? So from a foundational standpoint, when you navigate from one piece of the pentatonic to another, okay? From one section of the pentatonic to another, from one position to another, you want to use what I call friendly connections for the most part, which means you have your pentatonic scale, okay? And then you have those connections where you have 2 semitones, and then you have the ones that are 3 semitones, which is position number 2, right? Do you see that those 2 notes here? That's that far apart, right? So now when you are trying to move, my advice for people who are beginners at this, okay, use the 2 semitone section. So go to, okay, that's a really easy way to do it, okay? Of course you can do, okay, you can do that as well, but it's a longer slide, okay? So not so friendly for people who are trying to figure out how to navigate the fretboard, okay? So I recommend just doing your pentatonic scale, okay? And then on this G string, okay, slide down to position number 2, okay? Okay, and then slide down to the next position on the high E string, okay? Okay, and then from that position you can go number 4. Okay, you can go to number 4 from there. So if I was trying to go from 1 to 4, okay, let's say my goal was to get from 1 to 4 and make it sound cool, then it would go something like this. And at this point, I'm just improvising in position number 4 here, okay? And so sliding is one way of moving, okay, using the pentatonic scale, sliding from one position to another. And you can also go backwards. So that's why this exercise is so important. Because I'm going kind of like in an S shape, right? Which is one of the exercises that I talk about in my online school, okay? That exercise is super important because it just gives, the value of that is it teaches you how to transition from one position to another. Okay, so that's using a pentatonic scale, okay? Super basic, at the super basic level, okay? Now I want to talk about doing that using a diatonic scale. Okay, so diatonic scale. that's your diatonic scale, okay, which is your major scale. Okay, we're gonna use that, and we're gonna use combination of that and slides. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you some slow motion. We're basically moving from position number 1 to 2 to 3, okay, to 4, okay, using a diatonic pattern. Okay, so we're going to start with this. Okay, okay, so it's okay from 5. We're going to hammer on, okay, to 8. Okay, and then 5, 7, 8 again. We're going to slide from on the A string from 5 to 7. Okay, and then we're going to hit that D string right there. And we're going to repeat the same pattern. Okay, and you see the cool thing about patterns is that they're repeatable, and so you're just basically repeating it through the fretboard. So now here it's different because we have that problematic B string which is tuned differently. So this one's going to be higher. Okay, so and what we're doing here is we're really just respecting the pentatonic scale as we're moving. Okay. Okay. So and I went straight to 4 from there. Okay. So this is one example of how you can use the diatonic scale. And then, and then you can. The idea here is to mix it around, mix and match it with other things. Okay, so that your guitar solos will sound more interesting. So I ended with a bend. So use your diatonic scales, use your bends, okay, to make your stuff sound interesting as you're transitioning from one position to another. Okay, tip number 2. Okay, so another example of this would be, for example, like let's say I want to move from position number 4 to position back to number 1, right? So you have pentatonic position, start with your pentatonic scale, okay? Okay, that's the most foundational way of moving around the fretboard, okay? Using a pentatonic scale, okay? Now we're going to try to be a little bit more creative than that, okay? So okay, now I've gone to position number 2, but as you can see, I'm using bends, okay? I'm using extra notes, okay? You can use hammer-ons, you can use bends to give your transition a little bit more life, okay? Rather than just going like, it's just very basic, okay? So we go, okay? We're gonna bend, we're gonna do note stacking. Okay, if you don't know this stuff, then please watch my videos before this video. Okay, the 4 videos before this video, I talk about note stacking, I talk about bending, and using scales, and running your scales, okay, and you interrupting it with bends and other techniques, okay, to make it sound more interesting. So do check those videos out. Okay, so see, okay, using just basically the pentatonic scale. Okay, see, pentatonic scale. So combination of hammer-ons, okay, and pull-offs. Okay, so once again when I'm doing that, I'm seeing the pentatonic scale, the notes of the pentatonic scale. Okay, if you want to go one step more advanced, so start with the pentatonic scale, go one step more advanced using a diatonic scale. Once again, if you don't know your diatonic scale, please just use my 14-day free trial. Download the charts on my online school, okay, and learn your diatonic scales, okay, your positions. Diatonic scales have to be tied to your pentatonic scales, okay. So you have diatonic scale, okay, make sure you tie it to your pentatonic scale, okay. Your diatonic scale must be tied to your pentatonic scale. It looks like that. Okay, pentatonic first, diatonic then. Okay, so once you have that, then now you have more notes at your disposal, okay? So an example of transitioning from here to here using diatonic would sound something like this. This is the same pattern as here. Once again, okay? Okay? And so I'm using a diatonic scale, just like what I did here. Okay? So you get the idea, right? The same pattern, but I'm just using the notes of diatonic scale, okay, to transition from one to the other. So I can do this in slow motion for those of you who want to learn this exact lick, okay? So diatonic scale, okay? Hammer on, okay? You're gonna have it kind of like, it sounds kind of like two notes together, okay? So it sounds like a double stop here. And then you can do your tune up. I use diatonic scale. Okay, this is your leading scale. Like the pentatonic position number 4. Okay, so you can see once you understand these things, and then you begin connecting them to other things, it starts getting super powerful. Okay, you know, your sound and your variation becomes infinite, and that's kind of like the goal. Okay, the goal of the past 5 weeks is really like to give you tools, okay, that you can take and make yourself sound somewhat invincible in the area of variation. Okay, because you know, the tendency is that we practice our scales and then we sound very scaly. I'm trying to break you off of that, okay? And you know, you don't want to sound like you're just playing scales all day long, okay? And neither do you want to forsake those scales, okay? So you need the scales, but the idea here is that we're interrupting the scales. We're using it in different ways. We're using it to transition. We are using hammer-ons. We're using hammer-offs. We are using slides. We're using bends, and we're interrupting the scale, okay? We're making it sound not so scaly, okay? That's the goal, okay? And it's okay, it's perfectly fine to play scales once in a while, okay? So if you're playing like that sounds fine, right? Because we're using a scale and we're going to something that's different, that is a bend, right? So you will be using your scales, okay? I use scales a ton, okay? And then, but the idea here is that we are mixing and matching it with other stuff to create variation. So I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. Okay, do check out my online school and use my 14-day free trial. Go in there, learn something, download charts. Okay, knock yourselves out, enjoy yourselves, have fun when you learn. Okay, remember like guitar playing. You know, guitar is a very hard instrument, right? And so if you don't have fun while you're learning, it's going to be a struggle. Okay, as you're learning these skills. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this series. You know, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, and if there's anything else that you might want to learn. I'm going to work on, you know, trying to create videos that you guys absolutely love. So thanks so much for watching this. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one.